And I'm also going to share the browser. Share screen. Okay. All right, and Zoom redecorates my desktop, so I always got to look around to know where I am. Okay, so welcome everybody to the September 29th iteration of the Microprofile Live Hangout. Technically, this is the community edition, but right now everything is a working group edition until the working group is formed. So can someone, if they haven't already, paste a link to the meeting minutes in the chat? Click on that link if you're on the call, and please add your name to the list. It is everyone's shared responsibility to take notes. And there we go. It's everyone's shared responsibility to take notes. And this meeting is being recorded and will be placed on YouTube along with the chat, right? The public chat. Okay, so I think that's the usual spiel. So one thing that you noticed, I did send out a note to the Microprofile forum, and basically Zoom is requiring either everybody first join a waiting area before they're admitted by the meeting hosts, or we have to have a meeting password. So I think what I'm going to do is create a meeting password. The password will be public, which, you know, kind of defeats the purpose of having this whole thing in the first place, but have a public password. I'll update the link in the calendar, which should include the password and everything to join the call. And that means the meeting ID will change. I cannot find a way to actually turn on that without changing the meeting ID.
So John,
yes.
The topic that came up when we talked about this on the platform call is that if we're going to go with the password and it's in a public document, then that's not doing us any good.
Well, it's Zoom that's not doing us any good.
Well, the thing that we decided with the platform call is that the waiting room idea is probably okay. We can, you know, create a list of the common organization domains and then just admit people as we go along. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, you know, it just seems really strange to put a password and then put it on a public document because, you know, we got a couple of notes from the Eclipse Foundation, you know, where our hands got slapped because they said that's not right. We shouldn't be publicizing the password in a public document.
Well, all right, so I don't want to spend a lot. I apologize. Again, I'm managing the meeting. I prefer not to kind of cover this during this call. I think we have higher priority items. So,
yeah, I agree.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and you know, we could try that out. Use the organization names. I think I could add maybe individuals as well to the list, so they'll automatically be added. They don't have to go in the waiting area. Let's try it out. I was only a little hesitant because this is a shared Zoom account, right, for everybody. But I'll go ahead and try that out. Let's discuss it in the chat if anyone feels otherwise.
I feel otherwise, but let's go through the forum and you send a thread. So let's say that I said no change because the password is added to the link. Let's move forward. We don't have trolls. We haven't seen them. Anything that will restrict access on the last minute. We have many microprofilers. They use the Twitter push that went actually today and yesterday as a reminders. They use that. If we lose that, we lose the occasional microprofile that joins this. So that is a -1. And very soon we're going to have our own Zoom account. We thank Eclipse for the one that provided. But
that's not really discussing it offline now, is it?
I know. Sorry, John.
So again, yeah, I'm doing my best here to manage the clock. Okay, so last week, I apologize. I had a family emergency. Everything's okay, so don't worry about it. Where I had on short notice to drop off. Thanks, Kevin, for leading the call. So I'm hoping that Kevin, David, or maybe Ed, someone kind of want to do a very brief summary managing the clock, of yesterday's discussion around ballot periods and solution or potential solutions, and let's go from there.
Yeah, someone just came to my door, so someone else had to pick that one up.
Sure.
Thanks, Kevin.
Okay, so I put a link into the chat for the draft microprofile specification process. So what was decided last week, and then via the Google group, we had a continued discussion, is that we're going to go forward with the charter as it's currently written. And in parallel, we are looking to update or create a derivative of the EFSP, the Eclipse Foundation specification process, and create a microprofile specification process. And that modification basically allows for a 2-week review period that can be cut short if everybody has voted. And so that's the gist of it. And so it was modeled pretty much after the Jakarta EE specification process. And I know, let's see, did you want to bring it up, John? Did you want to share from the link?
Which
I put it in the chat.
Oh, you did. And sorry, I got to figure out the chat.
The link should be in the minutes already. I clicked on it from the minutes.
Oh, did you?
I thought I did.
Like I said, Zoom redecorates my desktop, so I had to find my windows all over again.
Oh,
Here we
it's
go.
not in the minutes. Hold on,
Okay.
I will put a link in the minutes.
So I know, David and I mean, David drafted the whole thing. Thank you very much. And I had a couple of updates, which he accepted. And then Paul Buck, and I think Paul's on today. Yep.
Yeah, I'm here.
He offered a slight rewrite on the bullet concerning a shortened review period if everyone has voted. I read it. I think it's a little clearer. It's more direct as far as when a 14-day ballot can end sooner. But, I didn't want to accept it until we had a chance to talk about it here today. So I guess that's kind of the summary of last week plus where we're at with the MPSP.
Yeah, I thought the and thereafter was less clear just because it means in addition or after that point. So to me, it reads, to me, it could be misread as 7 days, but if that doesn't work, then there's another 14 days. So if we could do a live wordsmith of it here. If I can find that link again, Kevin put it in the chat. So maybe something like, each 14 ballot will, something like,
While he's doing that, so I was trying not to say anything about the number of, I expressly tried to say to defer to the EFSP for the minimum period, just in case that ever changes. I don't know why it would, but if it did, if you say 7 days here, then you got to remember to change it if the EFSP changes.
Yeah. I figured that's what you were doing, that you didn't want to duplicate data from the EFSP on purpose.
But I'm happy with anything that yields the same
result.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's
I
really
agree.
semantics at this point. I think conceptually, it's there's alignment. Well, it's not semantics. It's really how it's represented.
I believe that this document is extremely important.
Yeah, that's why we're taking the time to get it right.
Of course.
Something
Now,
like that. Is that simple, right?
take the A out of the lapsed.
Is that okay?
As concluded. has elapsed.
Yeah.
You want to add in that all votes, yeah.
Add in what, Ed?
I guess there was just all
That-
votes have been cast in that first sentence. Means, I mean, they might not be cast in. So, minimum 7 days. After that, whichever comes first, all votes are cast, or the 14-day, the total 14-day period is concluded. So even if all votes are cast in the 7 days, you can't. It has to stay open, right? That's what that's the FSP.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is there a reason why we are not adding to this document that multiple votes can happen in parallel? Or is that understood or will be documented under the wiki in another place? I don't see it anywhere here. Maybe I'm missing the mark.
I
think it's
that's
independent.
Yeah, exactly. That's just something we have to do in our best effort while executing this, but it's not like, it's not something that goes into the specification process in the same way that it's a requirement that we have to run them in parallel, right? That would make it a requirement, meaning what do you do if not all ballots are ready at the same time? Do you have to wait for them all because the specification process says that they have to be done in parallel? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, it's something we can do organically. We don't have to.
Right.
Right.
But what I'm asking is,
We've lost the suggested or my modified edit here with the way you've added it, David. So we don't see what was there before.
Oh, it's here. Each 7-day ballot. Oh, come on.
If we don't get it because it's just a.
Let me try to back this up and
Undo.
yeah, see if it shows up again. And I'll just add another paragraph, and then we can just look at them both.
Or just go into suggesting.
There we go.
Okay, and feel free to go into suggesting mode and strike that out, and then add.
Well, here I'll just go into suggesting mode again, and I'll just paste the second.
Okay,
We can
cool.
just take a look at whichever one we want.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me, it's just this 7 days and thereafter 14 days. Just I find that confusing.
Okay.
So just to eliminate any other interpretation is, have it phrased in a way that there are no potential bad interpretations.
Yeah, no, clarity is important.
I actually like David's modification.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's a little bit clearer.
Anyone else on this call who has not spoken, what do you think? Because this document is super important.
What was your suggestion, Paul? What do you think?
I'm just looking at the words again because so the period between 7 days and 14 days when all ballots have been cast, does the vote wrap up? In your language, 7 days has lapsed and all votes have been cast. So that would capture, I think, it's 7 days have elapsed and all votes have been cast and the vote wraps. And then the 14-day ballot period is concluded. I think it's okay.
I have one question. For the 7-day ballot, is end after 7 days. What about the people the vote if someone has not been voted? So that's automatically end.
Yes.
It's a no vote. It's not, did not vote. It's not +1, it's not -1, it's not 0.
So just a no vote is just okay. So when we do a kind of majority, kind of the super majority, do we still take that into account?
Effectively, the supermajority number doesn't change. You're looking for the total number of +1s. Right?
No.
Total number.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me interject here. In Jakarta E, there are 10 votes under the specification, and they are listed. Only the ones that say -1 or 1 or zeros. And usually, every vote counts. Even those ones that do not vote for any reason will count as an, like, you know, just it doesn't.
Binding and non-binding. Hey, what about keeping the eligible in there?
It's already included in the charter.
Eligible members have voted.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
John, I get confused about the usage of ballot in 2 different contexts in the same sentence.
I wasn't sure. I to be honest, that's why I put it in suggestion mode. It's I almost added the question mark to the end.
It's just recursive, right? The ballot closes when all ballots have been cast. That
All right.
doesn't parse in my mind.
Okay.
So my only concern is you don't want to force it to stay open for 14 days after the minimum of 7 days has elapsed. If all the votes had not been cast, you want to close at 10 days if they all do get cast.
Right. Doesn't it read that way?
Yeah, I think your first sub-bullet captures that. Minimum of 7 days, and all votes have been cast. So if it's beyond 7 days, and all votes have been cast, then the ballot concludes.
Ed, that is a good, what is it called? That is a good point. However, I think it's included because the community is very tight and we are always talking. The public calls will continue to happen, relevant in every 2 weeks we will meet. So we can tap each other's shoulders if there is an issue. So I think the worry that you actually put forward is valid, but it's likely not to impact us because we are always talking and always moving forward and unblocking ourselves.
So is that better to use your exact words, Paul? When all eligible members have voted?
Yeah, that's actually a very good clarification.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
I say let's wrap it up and move to the next topic. If someone here doesn't like this, say so now or use the forum. Let's just approve and move on.
Is there anybody who's very confused in the topic and not brave enough to say something?
I can always say something in the chat.
Yeah, well I mean, we frequently dive right into the middle of stuff, and I just want to make sure we're not leaving anybody behind in the conversation.
I'm not saying okay.
I didn't hear
how much I would like to talk with you guys on this stuff. It's very foreign to me and new, so I'm happy listening in and see how this all turns out. So.
Who was talking before that?
Sound like Barry.
Barry, go for it.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm not talking, but I'm cool with what's going on.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure because you know, we do tend to just dive right to the last 10% of the problem and try and solve the hard stuff and can easily leave people.
I guess if I didn't want to be here, I wouldn't be here. So I find this interesting. So I'm here. So.
Okay. All right. Well then.
All right. Can we resolve all of these comments and edits?
Yes.
Oh, I just got signed out. No, I got signed out. Why did I get signed out? There we go. I signed back in. Sorry.
John,
I
are
can
you
do it.
using your personal email and not the microprofile one?
I did use my personal one, I thought.
Cool. Okay. Just
I went through and I changed them all. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like people are. Okay, I don't know what happened there. I apologize.
Oh, I already did that. Oh, is this the delay? Is there a lag? Okay, never mind. There is. Kevin, I'm leaving your comment at the top just because it's good.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yep.
If you want to, you could lock it for edits and even suggestions at this point, and just leave comments.
Should we call this 1.0 then?
And I would like to move it over to the shared working group drive. Which
Yeah, where can you paste that?
nobody has access to, which we need to figure out how to fix. But
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think I do. As long as I have edit access to this, or then I should be able to move it over to the.
okay.
Well, let me make you owner, and then you can just move it right now.
John should be fine to put it in the drive.
Okay, I will do that.
And
I mean, do I have access to the drive to put it in?
Kevin, is that you speaking?
Oh, that's David.
Oh, sorry. No, I can add you though, David.
Yeah, add me and I'll do it right now.
Okay.
you need to clean up the documents. Is it clean already?
Yeah, it's good.
It has the version 1.0, that part needs adjusted.
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just a second while I sign in.
Yeah, I'll do the move once Sharon grants me access.
Okay.
You don't need to worry
Yeah, I'm
about
not sure what happened there. Oh, Jesus. My single sign-on literally timed out in the middle of the call.
Oh, you're just giving me opportunities to take another pic, another photo. So it's fine.
Go for it.
I already did. No one knew.
Oh, okay.
Everyone
I'm
like,
sure I'm making a very awkward face and probably talking in the middle of it.
Mhm.
Or I'm intensely looking at edits.
Okay, everyone, if you wanted a second opportunity, this is it. While we navigate infra problems, technology problems. Show up once again your faces and let's take another selfie. Not selfie, but you know what? Screenshots. Come on, everyone. Another chance. 1, 2. I'll give you more time. 1, 2. Everyone. More time, more time. Look at it. There you are, totally chilling. Okay, come on. 1, 2, and it's happening now. Perfect.
All right, I am back
I think Ed's got the right idea.
and logged in. I didn't
I have
see
to
it.
share my office with my wife. She talks loud.
We don't have that problem.
Seriously, Ed. Hello. Who are you friends with?
That was a little bit of sarcasm.
Okay, sorry.
Little.
Moving on. Managing the clock here. I apologize again. All right, so we covered that. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the schedule. So there's a release tracking spreadsheet that I created a while back. And I'm just trying to figure out, oops, that's the wrong one. Kind of the things that we need to do before we release Microprofile 4.0. These dates are not going to be necessarily perfect or even right. They're very, very aggressive. If you know, so I'm kind of looking for things that we need to do, minimum time frames. Let's add them all up and see where that puts us, right? In terms of a schedule.
Could we take a quick peek at the other
The
working
checklist?
group creation timeline spreadsheet?
Do I have that one?
Sharon shared it in the Microprofile Working Group Forum, but I think that link needs to be added here, John.
Yeah. Well, I for some reason I was thinking.
There it is.
I got it.
Thank you. Let me pull it up here.
Oh,
And
looks like Paul
I
beat
will
me to it.
pull it up. Ah, okay. This is awesome. Yeah. For some reason, we can. I don't care what. which one we use. I can move everything.
Well, and it's you should have.
No, it's my wrong account.
Okay.
I think.
I got the same thing.
Oh, you did.
Well,
oh, there we go.
Okay. 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 So I'd like to walk through this a row at a time, and then it kind of leads into your spreadsheet. So we're the row that I'll draw your attention to right now is row 6. So the community review at this point has concluded. It commenced on the 14th. It ran for 14 or so days.
You're talking about the charter, Paul? The charter?
No, that's the community review. There was an email that was sent out to the Eclipse Foundation community and with a link to the draft charter to notify the community at large that the working group was going to be created. And if they had any input, they were asked to join the microprofile-WG at eclipse.org mailing list and discuss. So it was posted, or the email was sent. There's really been no discussion on the working group mailing list. So we conclude that the period has elapsed, and we have concluded the community review as per the Eclipse Foundation working group process.
Us? That is huge, right?
Yeah, ta-da, it's good.
Yay.
Done. I marked it as done, and hopefully Sharon agrees with me.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out.
Congratulations.
Okay,
all right, good. We didn't pre-discuss this. So. On all matters of governance, I refer to Sharon. Okay, so we do have the participation agreements. Yes, check, they're done. We've got our tile on the Explore page with the logo. Looks good. And the checklist was posted to the mailing list, and we've had some progress on evaluating it, but it's still a work in progress.
That's up to me, Paul. I'm going to try and get to this tomorrow for everyone. My apologies.
Okay.
So it's not this checklist that I'm showing on the screen. Is it? Oops, I'm sorry. I thought I was. Let me do it again.
Yeah, that's
is it this checklist? Okay, that's the one. Okay.
It has comments. So thank you so much, Sharon and Paul, for digging into it. It has a lot of comments. There are 3 tabs, correct?
There is 3 tabs, yes. And so I will have feedback for everyone tomorrow. I guess before we go down here, because I do have a question on this if we have time, but let's go back and make sure Paul is Paul's finished going through his spreadsheet first.
Okay.
Okay, and this is our spreadsheet. This is our plan. Yeah, no.
I'll stop talking now. Go ahead, Paul.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Because it's the working group. I'm doing this on behalf of the working group, so it's we can change it as need be. So where are we? Pitch deck. John said we have one that's in progress. We have.
I'm just going to make a quick call out on that very briefly. So all I really need is a quote from the Atlanta JUG saying how much you love Microprofile, and the same from Gelastic, if there's anyone from Gelastic on the call. So I'll try and reach out directly as well, but that's it, and then we should be done.
John, I will take that action item from you. You have done a really good job in the gift tickets and everything. Let me do this and contact Tatiana and Ruslan and get it done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, Mike, I put a quote in there already.
Yeah, right. Vince, I saw that, and I asked you for a follow-up to close the ticket. Remember that? Copy paste. Close the ticket.
Next. Sorry.
So we do have the initial membership pipeline, and I sent out emails of invitation to join the working group to the 5 organizations that were on the in that pipeline, and asked that they have their participation agreements into the foundation by the 12th of October. I put the 16th of October as the date in the plan. We also need to be recruiting committer members. The committer members are committers on the Microprofile project that aren't employed by one of the organizations that will be signing the participation agreement. So we've got some work we have the agreement, and we need to do some work to contact and raise awareness with the committers that they will need to do this. So if they're on the phone and they've got questions, reach out to Sharon and I. I think we'll also put an email out to the mailing list just to let committers know that this is coming.
So I have a question on that, Paul, because I have been thinking about this. We have dormant microprofile committers, and they are all listed on the Eclipse side of the project where it is documented who is part of this. And is it helpful for you that we compile the emails of these individuals, or can you reach out via the Microprofile committers mailing list and contact everyone at once? My recommendation is to send a note to the email that contacts all of us that are committers and say, hey, this is happening, this is changing, and instead of contacting individuals, because I am sensitive to those ones that still need to work with their employees to get transfer onto this working group, and that is going to take some time. So I am saying, can we use the committer email for Microprofile to contact that, to contact, and like that, we can forward that to the forum, make sure that everything is transparent as we do with the nominations for committers on Microprofile. Or what is your recommendation?
You know, it's certainly something that we can over communicate. I mean, it's on mailing lists and directly to individuals, both is wholly appropriate. And if they've got questions, then you know, I'm happy to have one-on-one discussions or mailing list discussions with committers that aren't employed by organizations that intend to sign the participation agreement.
Okay, Paul. So then that means you don't need our help. You will use the forum for the committers and also contact them. And this is not something that we as a community will do. This is something that Eclipse EMO will do on our behalf. As part of
yes, I'm fine with that. Now, if people have questions, then I'll be looking for, it may be appropriate for somebody else to weigh in and help with that. So
forum.
We'll go.
Forum.
I mean, I've got thoughts on this. I just don't want to rat hole because my comment would lead down that lead to a rat hole. I do have a question though. Mm-hmm. So for a committer member, is the initial steering committee meeting that we have a lot of voting to do probably, is one of those items to approve a committer member?
So let's keep going. Let's keep going on the list. Hold your question. Okay. And there's potentially is a discussion to be had, but there is a bit of a cart and the horse thing that we've got to kind of work our way through a little bit perhaps. So corporate members, recruit, finalize paperwork. So yes, so we will work with so row 14 to get the paperwork done if people have questions. Once we have paperwork from an organization, then we will ask that the organization name their steering committee rep. And tentatively, we put on a steering committee call scheduled for the 20th of October.
Paul, can we on that? I'm sorry about this, but can we keep our public calls and make it so that anyone interested can join? And we will put some settings where it mutes everyone, but we want to control that first call. That would be my preference because it's the first one and we want to have no deviation to what we have done in the past. And I'm really, I have been thinking about this a lot and I cannot, you know, feel comfortable with adjusting it for the first one to have it be controlled by the organization. I prefer it keeps being managed by the community.
I mean, ultimately, that's a decision for the steering committee. It's fine one way or the other, but ultimately, it's a decision for the steering committee to make.
Okay, perfect.
So the question is the first meeting public, or is it the first meeting just with the steering committee where they make that decision? I'm not.
It's going to be public. So that is not even a question.
I mean, well, be careful. I mean, that's your perspective, which I agree with, by the way, right? I agree that it should be public because it's the way that we've been running. But okay, so
let's get into the first meeting. So the objective for the first meeting would be to vote to approve the draft charter, and at that point we have and then the charter from that point goes to the executive director for final approval, and then at that point the charter also shifts from draft to 1.0 on the Eclipse Foundation website. We at that point would initiate the ballot for the committee reps, and that's either done by the foundation, Sharon, on behalf of the working group, or it could be done by the working group.
So that ballot period is, oh, sorry, there it is on the right-hand side.
Yeah, 2 weeks for nomination, 2 weeks for ballot.
Okay, so that pushes us out to the first week of November.
Yeah,
from when that
the
closes.
steering committee meeting it would be held without a committee rep.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have a question about this. Why can we not have the steering committee on the 12th of October? What is stopping them from doing that? And
if you guys get your paperwork done, then we'll go faster.
Guess what?
Balls in your court. So far, it's crickets.
Okay.
That's a good answer, unfortunately.
What? That's an excellent answer. So we are missing one of the partners that has agreed to join, the Elastic. But can we agree, the 5 that have already formalized this, can we be ready? You say, I will not say this week, by Monday, let's see. Can we own this and have it set up maybe by next the 6th so that
Nope.
Nope?
No, I can't. We are working it through IBM. It just takes a while. And we're gonna be pushing October 12th to get the PA done.
Yeah, no, my experience is that they're targeting for the company's target for the 12th. It generally takes a little bit longer, and so it will be tricky to get it done sooner. I think the bigger question is with regards to the committee reps and holding the first meeting without the committee reps on the committee.
I don't know. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we because the call is going to be recorded, guys, and we're accountable, and we have been very serious on what it takes to move this forward, there will be no shitty outcomes on, oh, you did this to leave us out. If there is an issue and questions, we can answer those because everything has been recorded and there are no private conversations. So
I think the last word is the most important. As long as it's a public meeting, everybody can attend, then I think everyone's going to be cool with it. I mean, I'm speaking for everybody, but that would be my assumption.
And I'd say the decisions that have been referenced so far, ones that have been vetted in the community in these discussions. So yes, it is, they're formal, but they're basically, if you will, ratifying positions that have already been established. So the next item, row 19, is to adopt the EFSP. And in this case, it could be to adopt the microprofile specification process. And at which, from an EMO perspective, we are okay with the charter as is. At a future point when other edits are being made to the charter, then an explicit reference to the microprofile specification process would be prudent, but the language as it is inclusive enough, given that the MPSP is a derivative of the EFSP, that the charter as written is acceptable to adopt the MPA microprofile specification process. So question to be worked out as to whether or not it's a resolution for the EFSP or the MPSP. don't have to decide right now, but that's something that is a decision point. Next is to, once we've adopted the specification process, we will now have a steering committee that is acting also as the specification committee. And actually it's a steering committee ballot, but still, you don't really want to have a spec project without a specification committee. So the steering committee then could initiate the ballot for the conversion of the microprofile project to a spec project.
So
And that's a 7-day ballot on the mailing list.
Well, on that one, I have a question. Because Sharon created this other document that is listed on line, checklist line 10. And when I see the specification working group, steering committee working group, so are you stating that we will need that mailing list for this kind of voting? Or can we use just the steering committee mailing list? We want to simplify stuff.
Right. My recommendation would be to conduct your voting on the microprofile-WG at eclipse.org mailing list.
Okay, so then we can use the working group and just keep two mailing lists. Sharon, listen to this. 2 mailing lists, the microprofile working group, and then the steering committee, nothing else. Because we've provided so much feedback in one of the tabs about mailing lists. So now we have simplified. And Paul, thank you so much, because this was bugging me.
Well, and if you want to go with one mailing list, you could as well.
Even better. Working group.
It can be convenient to have a steering committee mailing list.
So I have a question on the end dates. Here, I'll highlight it. Should that be including the 7-day period? Should that be 10/27?
Yeah, good catch.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was just doing cut and paste here.
No, no, that's all right. I'm trying to figure out how we can collapse as much as possible the schedule, not necessarily from this perspective, but from the microprofile specification perspective.
Well, and in theory, there could be a row 21, which is initiate ballot for microprofile 4.0.
So here's the thing. If it's okay, I'm going to switch this discussion a little bit to. I had 3 kind of topics I wanted to get through. We've just gotten through 2, really, with this schedule being number 2. The third one is around microprofile specifications specifically. So one thing that I did, sorry, I got to find it here, is we have multiple specifications that we have to vote on, right? And in here, I don't have, technically I have to add in the platform spec as well. For now, I'm just gonna use the word platform. I'll come back and clean it up. So we have to vote on all of these things. Now, as much as possible, we're gonna run these in parallel, right?
Yep.
So I brought up an idea, and I want to know what others think, because I don't want to put anyone in uncomfortable situations.
Terrible.
But at some point, I don't know, a week out, 2 weeks out, based on the versions that we have up there, right? I went through, and these are the most recent releases of all the specs. Can we kind of do like a pre-vote? In other words, everyone review the specs with where they think they are. Do they have any comments on the specs as they are? So that when we do go to a vote, after the working group has been formed, we'll have most of our issues already hashed out, right? So I don't know what people think of that, kind of like a pre-vote, right? Everyone on each of the specs, it's a little spreadsheet or something, right? Thumbs up, thumbs down, abstain, whatever. Non-binding. It's just to give us an idea maybe about where we're at and any issues that we need to address.
Like a dry run.
A dry run.
Basically, you're talking about the vote, the RC1. So I think it's a good idea. So basically, it's eventually we will fold RC1 to be a final. So basically, it's look at the current RC1 You thumb up, thumb down, and then when we do the final, basically you already reviewed the RC. And if not much change, you keep your previous opinion.
Well, here's my thinking. We really
Rudy was trying to
need
get
lock
some
down these specs. Sorry, Rudy. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just having another thought and comment because maybe we should, in this pre-vote or whatever we call it, define what needs to be checked and done. Because if I recall correctly, with the Jakarta EE9 now, there was in the beginning not clear what exactly needs to be done for that voting. So if we can identify it here already through the dry run, then that will speed up probably the process later on. No?
Yeah, one thing that has worked very well in Jakarta is the checklist. So when we have the pull request for a specification ballot, we have a checklist that all marks has to be done before the ballot starts. So I would suggest create GitHub issues with a checklist, so you can verify all the specs.
That's one, Ivar. That thing works amazing. And it can be retweeted and it can be pushed everywhere.
Well, that essentially means the definition of operational guide. I mean, those are effectively just checklists that come out of that.
I thought we were going to do that. I didn't even, but it's nice, Ivar, that you mentioned it and reminded others that might not be contributing to Jakarta EE in the release that is currently happening, the 9, how we have organized ourselves to push forward. And one thing I would say about that, we do want non-binding votes of those behind the contributions to push the votes, because though they are not counted, it's so nice to see contributors say, hey, I help on this +1 or -1 or 0. We just voice it up.
What do we want to do for our, a PR or just an issue? By the way, in GitHub, an issue is a PR, or vice versa, a PR is an issue. So we could just open an issue. If there's no actual commit associated with this stuff, we could just open an issue. Or we could actually start collecting specs in a directory and require them to be submitted via PR.
So I'm just to do a quick time check. That's why I didn't mean to interrupt earlier. We have about 7 minutes to go. So
okay,
that's for everybody.
So related to that, then, I mean, would we start using a staging repository for the APIs as well?
So we already have access to one?
I don't know that we've ever used it.
Sonatype, well, we're using the regular Sonatype Nexus.
Right.
That is 30-day retention.
Right. So that, but, and yes, we did run into problems with Jakarta EE, but that should be sufficient for the microprofile effort.
Ideally.
For microprofile, I think as far as I know, most spec release the RC or milestone to Maven Central. It's basically go to the Sonatype and then publish a release so that they can run the TCKs and etc.
Right, but the thing is, we're supposed to be voting on something that really is final. So something has to be staged so that we can actually see this is the thing that's actually going to be released. I mean, we, not that we don't trust anybody, but, just because someone says, yeah, the RC2, yeah, that really is my final, we don't know what happens between that and the one that actually gets released.
Yeah, so that's a fair point. So it's basically, yeah, you're talking about the final release. So basically, we stage first, do the Jenkins build, stage first before you release to Maven Central and then run the ballot. When the ballot, passed, and then publish. I think that's,
So that's where I'm,
it's
you know,
a good process.
We don't need anything as, I don't know, complicated, thorough, or whatever you want to say for as Jakarta EE, but we do need a subset of that process, I think, available for our microprofile specifications to get them primed for the vote.
Yeah, I think that's good idea.
We could have someone
Basically.
simply open an issue and attach the documents to it.
I think not attach a document, just put a link there because
links work too.
Yeah. So basically, it's like create an issue, attach a link. I think that's is quite good, and then everybody can, for the dry run, can do a thumb up, and etc. However, for the formal vote, do we like have to ask that? Presumably, we have to vote via the Google group or vote via the mailing list. Which one? Which?
Oh, yes, answer.
We have to vote on the working group mailing list.
Yeah, working group.
Right. Yeah.
It has to be. It has to be archived in the Eclipse infrastructure.
Working group.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, just a clarification.
That is super important. So we need to document this part because I consider it super important. Microprofile will simplify it. We'll only have at least just 2 mailing lists. Sharon, please contact me via my email if you need any links. We added so many comments here, and I think we will help you simplify and answer questions as you go through them.
Appreciate that. I like Lee very well, so I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah.
So we got 3 minutes left. One of the things that I am going to try to do is, I think what I'm going to take the schedule, so I got to find the right spreadsheet here I'm sharing. I'm going to create a new tab here and add in the Microprofile 4.0 schedule. It's just going to be draft, right? Because we know we have lead times across all these things to understand when do we think we can get Microprofile 4.0 released, right? It's probably going to be end of November is my guess at the earliest, but we'll see. I'll stick something in there.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. So before we release the 4.0, do we have to ask like all the contributors to sign the paperwork? Because I didn't see that listed here.
Yes.
Like a contribution agreement. So in that case, we need to start earlier with that. Like
the timeline.
Emily, Paul just gave us a feedback on how the PMO is working on contacting every committer that is not a formal member of the current 5 to make sure that, they sign the agreement. We have the individual agreement. So that is something that the EMO will do, and Paul will answer the questions and push that forward. Paul, have you started that work? I'm putting you on the spot here, but.
We literally just discussed the venue in which it would happen, so you can assume that it's not already been executed.
I didn't see the dates. I'm like super lost.
We discussed whether or not we'd be contacting people directly or on list, and then decided it was going to be both. So it's a little early to ask for a status update on how that went.
It's not started yet. I can confirm that.
All right. That's awesome. There you go. It goes into record. There are no hiding points.
For some reason, so which row? For some reason, I double checked. I couldn't. A map to the row. So which action item?
Recruit committer members. I believe that's the one.
I thought that's kind of recruit new ones. I didn't interpret it as a sign agreement.
Yeah, I think it means well, recruiting corporate members means getting the corporate members to sign the agreement, and I'm assuming recruit committer members means getting committer members to sign their respective agreement.
Yeah, that is how I read it as well.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Emily?
Yeah, it makes sense now. Because
maybe we can clarify those lines, Paul. Just add a little note.
Emily just pointed the flag, so it's kind of cool, Emily.
Put in parentheses like sign agreement or something like that.
Yeah.
So what if someone doesn't want to sign agreement? So are we going to remove their committer status or something?
We need to discuss that.
Right, okay.
Yeah, because they have to agree to it in order to participate with the specifications.
Yeah, and we cannot have it both ways. Sadly, it's going to be formalized.
Yeah. So John, you'd mentioned that end of November was most realistic.
This is just literally mental swag.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering. Couldn't we aim to start the official vote on the 27th?
Yes, we could. I mean, if we have everything lined up in the specs, to be honest, that's why I specifically kind of created this section here. Because right now everything's in draft form. That means these things can't be in draft form. They got to be final.
Yeah.
And the platform spec has to be defined, which we don't have defined. It's very easy to define. Don't get me wrong. All that's got to be done.
Yeah.
So let's get it done.
So we could. Right. Does anybody? I mean, we have this time, right? Shouldn't we aim for starting our ballots on the 27th?
I personally would like it.
These have been sitting here almost ready to go. Anyway, other people speak.
Vince, you're here representing the JUG, Atlanta JUG. Can you speak on that? How do you feel about being thrown on, your community being thrown on October 27th, based on what you are listening today?
I have to vote.
Vince is not at, and
well,
how
and
about
really
Mary?
everybody, right? So this is everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And this is the last little conversation here because we're at the top of the hour. So again, clock management here.
I think it's a good goal. I think it's going to be real tough to get that in place by then.
Hey, sorry, I couldn't find unmute. It's fine with me.
Thank you, Vince. What about Barry? Like you're also working very hard on joining in your JUG. How would you feel about being thrown the 27th?
So we haven't yet been able to get our letters of incorporation put together, but we're working hard to do this as fast as we can. I don't know what details we can skip over in preparation, but
cannot.
We'll no. All right, we're doing our best here.
Okay, perfect.
That's good to know.
Good to know. Okay.
All right.
Now, technical people: Emily, Roberto, Rudy, Edwin, Philip, Scott. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm ready to help out where I can, but.
Well, I think one of the main things we need to do is come up with those checklists as a proxy for operations guide, and have some general agreement on how they need to be used.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's something I'll take a look at starting.
Oh, thank you. I was about to ask.
That was very nice of you.
Added to the agenda is Scott to own that task. We need to close this up. 12:03.
Yeah,
John.
put the action item in the minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, if someone can do that while I close down the call, kind of give Scott and AI begin the checklist for the operations guide, that would be awesome. So thank you everyone for joining the September 29th iteration of the Microprofile Live Hangout. Hopefully sometime later today I'll have the recording available. And let's see, I guess that's it. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
And I want to say something here. Sorry, John. Ryan and Emily and a few of us have been working on the main page for the website. Please, Ryan, send it directly to the forum with the link, the updates, and just make it like that because it's just really hard to get that awesome update on the main page. And it shouldn't wait. Can you do that, Ryan?
All right, thumbs up. All right, thanks everyone. See you in a week.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.